Hi there, welcome back to my channel. My name is Chris, and today we're going to be setting up my new traveler's notebook that is going to be housing my media journal related items. Just as a quick aside, if you were interested in seeing the haul for that, I did recently post it, so I'll go ahead and link that in the cards above if you want to check it out. This is still a fairly new channel. I'm planning on making this the second video that I put, so I still want to be giving a little bit of background before I get into what I'm actually doing, and a lot of this first bit of the video is just me kind of looking at the journal anyway, so I figured I'd just talk a little bit beforehand. Regardless, if you see the timestamps, you'll see that this is a longer video. And the reason for that is that one of the ways that I really enjoy consuming journaling and stationery content is while I'm working. And I do that as sort of a means to kind of have someone to parallel process with me and kind of, I guess, kind of have a buddy, right? To do things alongside me, especially if at the time I don't have anyone else to do it with. And so, like with every video, right, it goes without saying that you're going to go ahead and consume this however you prefer. But I just wanted to remind you guys that you are free to mute this and put your own music in the background, or I'm not including any music in it itself. I'm just keeping it to the background noise and this voiceover in case you want to add your own music in the background and kind of have them work together. You know, it's free reign from here. And this video and all of my videos are going to have captioning. So that's also another option that's going to be available to you. I think captioning is super important, not only for enjoyment purposes, but also for accessibility purposes. So that's always going to be present in my videos. So now finally getting to what I'm doing here on screen. One of the most important types of journaling for me is media journaling, which is where I track the things that I'm reading, the things that I'm watching and listening to. And I'm planning on making a video that talks more about that process, my process specifically with media journaling, why I do it, and also like how I do it, right? So keep an eye out for that. But essentially, I'm keeping track of those things inside my Hobonichi Weeks right now. And I felt like I needed to expand that to include some inserts, and that's where the Traveler's Notebook comes in. So the Traveler's Notebook is going to house my Hobonichi Weeks, and then a companion insert that's going to be more for like art journaling type spreads along with a sticker book. And the reason why I'm not doing the art journal type spreads inside the Hobonichi is because then it would bulk up too much, and I'm keeping the Hobonichi to kind of list the things that I'm watching as I'm watching them or reading or whatever. And so I like a bit of chunkiness, but within where I'm writing, I would rather it didn't expand so much, especially if I'm keeping the whole year in one journal. So I'm using the TN companion as kind of like the art journaling part of the spreads that I'm going to be making. And then you'll see here that I'm kind of fitting the Hobonichi Weeks inside this plastic zipper case. And it's because I had seen another creator do it this way. And so my original idea was to do it that same way. How many times can you say that way in a couple sentences? But anyways, spoiler alert, you'll see that that isn't exactly how I end up doing it. I've never owned a traveler's notebook before or dealt with the jump bands, and not to mention the added component of like fitting the Hobonichi Weeks inside of it. So there's a lot of trial and error, especially in the beginning. And then here you'll see that I'm taking out the pockets to figure out where I'm going to put them inside of the cover. I really love pockets. I need them. And so I'm going to figure that out in a bit. Right now I'm just moving kind of the trash out of the way so it doesn't get in frame. And just FYI, if I have to talk like the full hour, I think I might like lose my mind. So I'm going to be jumping in and out. So it's going to be a mixture of just hearing the background noise and the ASMR version of it, and then my commentary, because yeah, I think I might like lose my voice if I have to talk for a full hour. So I won't be doing that. But yeah, so just enjoy. Actually, I did have to comment something now. I love these like pockets that I'm now fitting on the side here. I wish that there was like an inverse so that I could have the pocket on both sides. I mean, there might be, and then I just didn't see it. And if that's the case, then I'm gonna cry. But I love this kind of like side pocket, and you'll end up seeing that that's what I'm gonna be using to house my Hobonichi in here. But anyways, I digress. I'm getting ahead of myself. Here I am sticking it. I have like, and I don't know if you guys experience this too, but when sticking things in, especially on camera, the fear is so real that it's gonna get tilted or anything like that. And specifically with like the leather, you're gonna notice if you have to unstick it and stick it back on. So there was a bit of fear there, but I ended up pushing through. And then here on this side, I'm gonna be trying to figure out which combination of pocket stickers I'm gonna use. And I tend to be one of those people that really struggles with making decisions, especially the ones that I feel are like more permanent. So deciding how and where I was going to stick these pockets was giving me a bit of a meltdown. But I guess ultimately I just said like F it, and I pasted them on however I felt in the moment. You'll see me do that in like a couple seconds. I'm like here really struggling to make a decision. And a lot of times like this idea of trusting your gut is mentioned a lot, and I agree, but I also struggle, right, to know what the heck my gut is saying in the first place when it's drowned out by all the mental chatter. So anyways, I'm not trying to get philosophical here about pasting some sticker pockets on a leather cover. I have a friend that I could hear in the back of my head telling me it's not that deep. But all to say, I did end up changing this. Earlier today, I finally decided that I didn't like this particular way that I pasted the pockets, and I did switch it, but that's fine. To be loved is to be changed, right? Insert the Garfield picture on here. That always gets me emotional. Anyways, here I am kind of moving out some like deco that I have in my previous cover that was holding my media journal. And then again, struggling with the pockets. I just have a bookmark by an artist that I think it's 𝐓𝐚𝐥𝐸𝐬𝐸𝐬𝐸. I think it is, and if not, I'll link it, the artist down below. If it is 𝐓𝐚𝐥𝐸𝐬𝐸, they don't usually have their shop open. They'll open it every once in a while, so just keep that in mind. If it is closed, that's a possibility. And then I have a collectible playing card from an anime, which is one of my favorites. It's the My Hero Academia. It's Bakugo and Deku on the cover. It's from the manga, a manga scene. You see those tappies? I can't decide where to put that pocket. We'll get back to it in a bit. So for the art journaling portion, the insert, I'm using the Midori cream paper. I saw Lindsay Scribbles mention this one in one of her videos, and I am one of those people that prefers a cream colored paper over a stark white paper. It just feels like it's easier for me to get started if it's not completely white. And then here I'm kind of comparing it to the insert that comes with the traveler's notebook when you purchase it. And then here I'm adding this insert that I have. It's a weekly vertical insert that I'm using for memory keeping. And that's going to be housed in this journal as well. It's going to be the only insert that isn't really media related. But for me, the media journal is part of my memory keeping. It's one of the most important aspects of my memory keeping to me. So it felt right to just include it in here. It's going to be in front of the zipper pouch. And then, I mean, we'll see that. Here I am again, fitting the Hobonichi Weeks into the zipper pouch as I had originally planned. And actually, I did really want to ask. I don't see them very often, right? I have been in this community for a long time, and there was a point in time where I was very, very much into the booktube community. And so I saw a lot of book journals, and I've seen quite a few movie journals and TV journals, but I don't see many people having media journals where they keep track of not only the books or not only the movies or not only the TV shows, but just in general, all the media that they consume. And so I wanted to ask you, do you keep a media journal? What is your feelings towards media and tracking it? And maybe you don't keep a journal, but maybe you track your media another way, right? Like I don't just track mine in my media journal. I also use apps like Letterboxd for my movies. and Storygraph. I used to use Goodreads, but now I use Storygraph for books. So yeah, super interested. Let me know in the comments if you keep a media journal or if you track your media at all. And here I am trying to figure out, the order in which I want anything, especially in relation to the Hobonichi Weeks. Something that I keep thinking about that I guess I'm just going to have to figure out through use. I'm used to taking out the journal or whatever when I'm writing in it. And really in the traveler notebook system, at least from what I've seen, you tend to fill it out with it inside of the leather cover. I mean, that's the whole point, right? And so specifically, I was trying to figure out a way where I could set it up, and if I wanted to take it out, because that's just how I'm used to doing it, it would be easy enough. And right with the Hobonichi, I figured that out, but I'm still in the learning process with the actual inserts. So if you guys have any tips on that, feel free to let me know. And of course, it's all experimental and it all evolves with use. But since this is my first one, I'm still a baby when it comes to setting it up. And you'll see me do this pretty often where I kind of turn it around to see the sides and to see how chunky it is and also where they land. Just making sure that it's not bending at any weird places that affects the actual inserts. And don't get me wrong, I love a chunky, well-loved journal. I love chunkiness. I don't know, there's something just so satisfying about flipping through your journals, especially when you've been with them for a while and they're kind of expanded with use. So much of who you are is recorded in the pages, right? It's kind of beautiful. That's one of the reasons we journal, right? To have tangible proof of our lives as we've lived them. I did end up cutting a little bit though, because I kind of went back and forth doing the same exact motion of putting the video journal in the pocket and then taking out of the pocket and putting it in the zipper case and then taking out of the zipper case and putting it in the pocket. And I did maybe 5 times, and I figured who needs to see all that repetition, right? And once again, it's that indecisive cycle, and just also trying to figure out, what feels right, because so much of journaling, I mean, especially in an analog form, is about the tangible experience of doing it, right? And so it has to feel okay and comfortable. And there are the tappies again. I really like these bands because they do offer some grip, but at the same time, going back to that issue that I have where I'm curious about being able to get them in and out of the journal easily, it makes it a little more harder because it does have that grip. So keep that in mind if you are going to purchase that at some point. If you want them to stay, then this is a great option. But if you're like me and you have this need to be taking them in and out, then, I mean, you can still purchase them, but kind of set them up in a way where you might not have to take them out. So for example, here, I know that I don't really put a lot of ephemera or stickers in my weekly vertical. I keep it pretty bare with mostly washi tape. So I know that one is not going to bulk up very much. And so I put that with a rubber band. And then here it's using the insert that came with the traveler's notebook, but later on, not in the video, but I forgot that I had the sticker book that I was planning on using. So I replaced that insert with the sticker book, and I'm never going to take out the sticker book because that's supposed to live in there. I don't need to write in it. So I kind of used the 2 that are going to remain in the journal and I united them with the jump band. And then I will end up putting the Midori cream paper in the middle with the actual elastic from the journal. And that'll be very easy for me to take in and out. Something I also really liked of this version of the traveler's notebook versus the one that I had is that you can easily take out that band in the back. You can easily take it out and put it back without any issues. The one that I had that I bought off of Etsy, it's kind of difficult to do that, and I do find that sometimes if I write inside the leather notebook, then it kind of affects how I'm writing. And that's another reason why I ended up putting the Midori cream insert inside of the zipper case pouch. Aside from it being like a natural divider, I also put it in there because if I were to write inside, then that additional layer of the zipper pouch and then the sticker book is going to help not hit that band loop that's in the back, that little knot. And then if I was having issues with that, then I have the option of either taking out the insert or taking off the band. And both are fairly easy with the way that it's set up to do that. So just a little foresight, I guess. Oh, and then here we are again. We're going to go back to the sticker pockets. You know, one thing I did want to mention is that I said earlier that I did end up changing the way that I have the sticker pockets. The main reason for that is that that bottom one in the corner, it is not tight enough where what's inside doesn't easily slip out. And so it's kind of nerve-wracking for me to keep anything in there thinking that it might slip out. So what I end up doing is that top one that I put the card in, I move it down to where the corner's pocket is right now, and then I took out that corner. Keep in mind that if you do end up doing that, some of the adhesive does stick onto the leather cover, but what I ended up doing is just put a post-it on there, and eventually I'll put a sticker or I'll switch it out for something else. It's fine, it's not a big deal. But if that is something that bothers you, just keep that in mind. Once you stick something on, if you take it off, the adhesive will kind of remain there. And I really love this pencil board. The colors are just so pretty. And so since I decided that I wasn't going to put my Hobonichi Weeks in one of those two pockets for the zipper pouch, then I'm here just adding the pencil board to give it a little bit of stability and also just have it in there in an easy to reach place. Originally, I was going to flip it, right? The pencil board was going to be in that back pouch, and then the Hobonichi Weeks was going to be in the zipper case, but it ended up working backwards. And then here I did another skip because I spent another good like maybe 10 minutes going back and forth on where to put the Hobonichi Weeks and also messing with the pen loop. The pen loop will come again, so we'll talk about that in a bit, but I just did a little cut there because, again, repetition. It's the same thing over and over again. The indecisiveness at hand. Here I'm taking some stickers that I house in my other leather cover, the one that I bought off Etsy from Asian Vintage. It is a really good cover. It's like, I think, a B6 size. I really enjoy it. I'm going to still be using it, but for my personal health planner, my other Hobonichi Weeks. And here I'm just giving the layout another once over, kind of looking at it and how it would work. Here's a little preview of the media journal. I do like the way that this setup is. First, we have the weekly vertical where I do some of my memory keeping. Then it's the zipper pouch with some of the stickers. Then in the middle is the tea and insert with the Midori cream paper. Then it's the other side of the zipper case. And then following that, you won't see it here. Here it's the other blank insert, but I do end up changing that later on for the sticker book. And then here I am, finally, again, with the pen loop and struggling with it so bad that I busted the clip off of my Sarasa pen. And then that flew at some point. You'll see that in a second. And I lost it. So my Sarasa pen now doesn't have a clip. If you saw my haul, you'll know that I mentioned there that I have a love-hate relationship with the pen loop. Just pen loops in general. Moment of silence for my pen clip, by the way. In a second, you'll see that it flies off, and then never more. So yeah, with pen loops, I tend to find them bothersome, and they're always in the way, and I do value the convenience of having them there to, have a pen ready to use, but I just feel like they're always just in the way. So I figured that this removable one would be a really good option. But so far I am still not convinced. I don't really like it on the Traveler's Notebook leather cover. Well, here by the end of this video, it's going to be on the Hobonichi Weeks, and I don't hate that, except that it dents the clear cover. I did end up switching it today that I'm doing the voiceover to the zipper pouch, to the back end of the zipper pouch, and I don't hate that there. Again, looking for places where it's easy for me to remove it and put it back, and I think that zipper pouch is probably the best option because it just slides on and off of it. So originally the video would have ended there. I didn't actually end up doing anything else other than just setting that up. However, I figured that I would also include a little clip, well, a little clip, it's like a 20-minute clip, of me decorating the front cover of the Traveler's Notebook Midori cream paper insert, which is going to be my art journaling companion to the Hobonichi Weeks. So that's what I'm going to be doing here on this section of it. I'm going to be decorating the front cover. And to explain further the purpose of this TN insert, essentially, back in the day, I used to do similar spreads to what you would see now others do for their book journals or what have you, where it's like a dedicated spread to that piece of media. And I did that sparingly. I don't always want to do that, right? For me, it's important to list every single thing that I'm consuming, whether that be visual or audible. And that's what my Hobonichi Weeks comes in, right? It's a weekly spread, so I get to put in on a weekly basis, on a daily basis, what it is that I'm consuming, right? But I don't always want to make a dedicated spread to what I watched or whatever the piece of media is. But sometimes I do, and I enjoy creative journaling. So there isn't really a space for that for me in the Hobonichi Weeks. First of all, it'll either get too bulky if I put it in the notes section, and it doesn't really fit within my weekly section. So I was doing some brainstorming and some researching because I do really enjoy the Hobonichi Weeks, the setup, and I saw that Traveler's Notebook has a similar insert, except that it would be divided up into half a year each. And for specifically the lists, I would rather it be in one. So I'm going to continue doing that inside the Hobonichi Weeks. But since I had already started looking into the Traveler's Notebook and noticed that there were different types of inserts, I don't necessarily need to have one insert for the full year. For those art journaling spreads, I don't mind, taking them in and out as the year progresses if it gets too big or if I end up using one of the inserts to its entirety, which is a possibility. And then I also really enjoy the customizability of the Traveler's Notebook, right? Like you can put different types of inserts in it with different types of pages in it, and you can put zipper pouches, and you can put there's a variety within the zipper pouches, right? You have the plastic ones, you have the fabric ones, you have leather ones, you have the folders. And I'm really big on customizability. I'm not sure if any of you guys follow the Enneagram, but if you do, I'm an Enneagram type 4, right? And so creativity is a really big deal. Uniqueness is a really big deal. And the fact that the Traveler's Company setup is so customizable is really attractive to me. While still being able to continue using the Hobonichi Weeks, I think that it was like the perfect happy medium, and I'm like really, really excited to get started in it. In case you're wondering what I was using there, that red tape, it is a tape that is really good with random bits that don't take regular adhesive. So you'll see me later use like a regular roll of tape, but this one, since it was plastic in the back, if I would have used just regular tape, it can eventually fall off. That red tape is really good for like sticking fabric or plastic or weird materials that don't normally stick very well with like regular glue. So that's a pro tip there. If you're having issues with sticking certain things, definitely recommend red line tape. So since we're talking about media, I figured I'd ask what you guys are watching, reading, listening to right now. I'm super happy that Bake Off is back, the Great British Bake Off. So I'm watching that weekly. Very excited about that. And I recently binged, like yesterday and the day before, The Fall of the House of Usher, which is Mike Flanagan's new show. So if any of you guys have watched that, let me know. Feel free to comment about it. And let's see, I've been having a really good spoopy season so far. Watching a lot of different movies, mostly movies with that spoopy vibe. Obviously things like Halloween Town and Hocus Pocus. Watched Hotel Transylvania for the first time ever. It was really funny. And gotta watch some Gilmore Girls. Where you are, do you guys experience fall? If you're in the southern hemisphere, I know that you're going into spring now. If I'm not mistaken, it's the opposite. But if you're over here on the northern hemisphere, do you live someplace where there is autumn or not really? I am originally from Puerto Rico and lived for most of my life in Miami, but now I've moved to New England, and so we're experiencing the autumn here, and it's beautiful. It's been really, really nice. I love the cold. I'm done with heat. And October and autumn is my favorite, so I'm really happy to finally be living in a place where I get to experience all the seasons instead of just like living in an eternal purgatory of summer. When I'm decorating the inside of a spread or anything like that, it's usually just keeping like the week in mind. But with decorating a cover, you have to think that it's going to be more long term. And if we think about what I said earlier about making long term decisions and my struggle with it, it did take me a little bit to figure out what I was going to do with that front page. So much so that if you notice, I did another skip there, and it's because I spent again a good maybe 10 minutes going back and forth trying to figure out what sticker would go well and what the placement would work with those, traveler's notebook sticker labels with that washi tape that I had placed down. Luckily, with washi tape, it isn't very permanent for the most part, so I was able to just take that out, make an executive decision, and move on. And I'm really glad I did that because I think it looks much better. So as I was mentioning, there are a few stickers that I really, really liked from the Sticky Club. And again, that was included in the haul that I recently did, so feel free to check that out. But a lot of them are very seasonal themed, and I'm going to be keeping this journal for up to, the next quarter. I'm not sure if I'll even fill it out by the end of the year. I'm hoping to, because I would like to start a new one for the new year and kind of keep them within their years, planning on, a whole system of archiving. But, I couldn't just decorate it with today in mind or this week in mind or, this month in mind. I have to think about like at least the quarter and making sure that whatever I do on there, I'm going to like for, a longer period of time than just necessarily a weekly spread. But I did really end up liking how it came out after a few things that did not come out very well, which you'll see in a bit. Let me not get ahead of myself. One of my favorite parts of any spread is picking the washi tape. I have a washi tape obsession, and I know I'm not the only one. I love it. And since I have so many, which, mind you, I don't even have as many as some creators that I've seen, but since I have so many, sometimes it makes it a little difficult to pick. But I actually didn't spend that much time trying to decide this time, so good for me, I guess. What's your favorite like filler sticker? For me, I love butterflies, which is funny, right? Because I wouldn't consider butterflies to be a favorite animal or anything like that, but decoratively, I really enjoy putting them in like spaces. I also really enjoy flowers, like flower bouquets. I have to get more butterfly and flower bouquet stickers because I'm running out, and they are just lifesavers for me in terms of like filling up dead space. This is another one of the sticker sheets from the pop pack from Sticky Club. I used some of the stickers for this week's, or last week's rather, weekly setup inside the Hobonichi Weeks. And it's one of my favorites in the whole pack. There's honestly so many good ones. I really like the colors in it. And when I had originally set up the washi, I was going to use some of them, but now with the La Dolce Vita girl stickers, it doesn't really match. So when in doubt, fill up the space with, or at least I do, fill up the space with stars, butterflies, or dots. And here, my friends, is when I'm going to make a mistake. I wrote this and my handwriting was not giving that day, and I hated it. And then I underlined it in a really weird way, just made it worse. And then I tried to fix it and I just ended up underlining it even worse. I was not having a good time. But again, things can be fixed, and luckily I was able to fix it. And if I didn't, then I was just gonna have to live with it. It is what it is. Thus is the way. Not everything is gonna be perfect. See, look at this weird underline I did. I don't understand what I was thinking there. And so here I am trying to figure out what it is that I can do to kind of salvage this, because I was trying to convince myself that it was fine, that I could live with it, but I was really struggling to see anything good come out of that little section there. And there's Suki, sensing my distress. She is 6 years old. I adopted her second. I did include a clip earlier in this video at the beginning of her and Frida sitting in my bed. That was the first time they've ever like laid down so close together and actually slept a little bit. Oh, they are my little tappies. But here I am taking out one of my favorite washi tapes ever. It's a Mir Perhonen washi tape that I bought recently, and I'm obsessed with it. I don't end up liking the two of them there, and I'll move that, but I was trying to do anything I could, and it was the darkest washi I had to try and cover up that lettering. And you can see Suki has just sat on my sticker book. She is not moving. When she wants my attention, she wants my attention. It doesn't matter. And she loves sitting on paper. I don't know if you guys have cats, but both of my cats are obsessed with sitting on paper. They could have a perfectly good bed, a perfectly good like empty desk, but they'll go to where the paper is and sit there. So I was trying to take off this washi tape, and a little bit of the cover actually came off, but it wasn't a huge deal. Then using one of the little people, monster people stickers, another one from the pop pack in the sticky club for October. And so I ended up looking through my stash and I found this little like label sticker that I have, and I believe it's from 𝐂𝐸𝐸𝐞 when their shop was still 𝐂𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐞. That's not the name of their shop anymore, and I can't recall right now what the new name is. But anyways, I had this label that I thought worked perfectly, and I was able to cover, you know, the bottom part, and I thought that looked A+, at least way better than it had looked when it was just the lettering. And then I went in and looked for any of my alphas, any of them that had enough letters for companion. You can see in the corner I have some black, like block letters, but I didn't have a second N for companion, so I ended up not being able to use that for that word. But I did also have these, again, 𝐂𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸 alphas, which shop's not called 𝐂𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸 anymore. I think it's paper person. I'm like 95% certain that it's paper person. So here what I'm doing, and this is a little hack I learned from someone on YouTube many years ago, of sticking the letters, like the edges of the letters, to kind of line them up on a piece of acetate or a piece of plastic. This is a piece of plastic that I cut off from when I cut off the notebook, the traveler's notebook label. And then just paste the corners there, and then once you're ready to paste it on whatever it is that you need to paste it on, you just like press it down and then peel off the plastic. And it's a really nice way of being able to do that and making sure that your words fit before actually sticking them down. You'll see me take that off in a second now. So you can see that I'm able to line it up, and then I just stick the top part, hold it down, and then push off the rest of the letters. And I did have a little sneaky end that decided that it didn't want to stick on, but it's an easy fix. And the point is that you're able to see that the whole word fits in the section that you're trying to stick it to. So it's a really good hack for that. And then I still did really want to use these stickers, so I figured out a way to do that, and I decided I was going to use media. I had enough letters to be able to put media over on top. And having the alphas on top and also on the bottom felt like it kind of grounded the center without needing to necessarily put a border around it. So I think that composition wise, it worked well to have, you know, media companion is what it is anyways. So it worked out that I had the correct amount of stickers for it. And so aside from that, the only other thing I do is add one additional little monster person sticker right next to media to have a companion for the other one, those little stars at the end, and that's pretty much it for the cover. Actually, I lied. If I remember correctly, yep, I added some little star washi stickers. I'm gonna add 3 of them just to kind of add a little more to the composition. I am a maximalist in every sense of the word. But then after that, all I do is add the sticker sheets for the Sticky Club subscription into that zipper pouch, and I'm pretty much done with that cover. So as we reach the end of the video, I wanted to thank you for hanging out with me, spending this time with me as I set up my Traveler's Notebook media journal and decorated the front cover of the media companion. Next video is probably going to be my layout setup for the weekly media journal. And then feel free to comment on any type of videos that you enjoy watching within the journaling and stationery community. Whatever your favorites are, whether that be a type of video or a formatting of video, like maybe you prefer that these type of videos have music in the background. Any feedback that you have, feel free to leave it in the comments below. And Let me know again, like I mentioned, what you're watching, what you're reading, what you're listening to, or what's your favorite song this month. And since we are in October, what's your favorite spooky movie to watch this season? Or what is it that you have to watch every single October? For me, it's Over the Garden Wall. But anyways, thank you so much again for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.